This brings us to informal communication channels, better known as the grapevine. It's an informal channel of communication that carries organizationally relevant gossip. The grapevine can be a powerful, pervasive source of information, accounting for as much as 2/3 of an employee's information. Studies demonstrate that the grapevine, in fact, can be nearly 75 to 80% accurate, but the information does flow haphazardly through the organization. That is, without any particular reliability or dependability or timetable. Through formal and informal channels of communication, smart companies keep employees and the public informed. I mentioned in class, by the way, that one of my longtime friends and acquaintances who used to be a vice president for Murphy Oil, he's traveled around the world and was stationed in the UK for a number of years, mentioned something to me a few months back. He said, when you have good information to get out, good information can wait. Good news can wait. But bad news needs to come out immediately. So if you've got a crisis or a problem, that needs to come out very quickly. And the reason that does is because on those times, if you're withholding bad news, it might be that we're not going to have a raise, or the stockholders are not going to get a dividend, or that there is a product recall, or some bad news relating to, or maybe a downgrade in the company's debt ratings. When that bad news, if it doesn't come out immediately and someone else finds out about it, and that it comes out without outside the regular company channels, it can appear that the company was hiding something. And that kind of trust or loss of credibility can last a long, long time. When you've got good news, maybe the company is going to increase its dividend, the credit rating is going to be increased, maybe there's going to be a reestablishment of a raise or an extra big raise. If that information happens to come out before the company announces it, that doesn't have the same, well, it doesn't hurt the company in the same way as when bad news seems to have been hidden from the employees or the public. So it's something important to be remembered. Now we deal with ethics in the workplace. As your textbook says, it's needed more than ever, and I think we certainly can all agree with that. Ethics refers, by the way, to conventional standards of right and wrong that prescribe what people should do. These standards usually consist of rights and obligation and benefits to society. In other words, since that we recognize a responsibility to each other and to the company and to society to do the right thing. Doing what ethical communicators do. First of all, we abide by the law. Label opinions, tell the truth. Label opinions as opposed to calling them facts. Give credit where credit is due. Be objective. Try not to be biased. And communicate clearly and effectively. And use inclusive language. Think in terms of how the information will be received and by whom, and be aware of the concerns or feelings of others when that information comes out. In choosing tools for doing the right thing, there are 5 questions mentioned in your textbook that would help us to guide ethical decisions. Is the action that you are considering legal? Would you do it if you were on the opposite side? Can you rule out a better alternative? Would a trusted advisor agree? Would family, friends, employers, or coworkers approve? One thing I've heard years ago about this was, how would your mother feel if she found out that you were doing this, or that you or the company that you worked for was engaged in a particular type of activity? You'll find many companies, not only that, but institutions, even in my experience, sometimes Christian universities, that will do things, and the explanation for it, the defense is, well, that's the way it's done. That's the way everybody else is doing it. Yeah, even though it might be something that you would not want, or that they would not want everyone knowing that this particular institution was engaged in. And so these are maybe not the complete list of questions to ask, but these are a starting point in those that are noted in your textbook. And that concludes this video on the notes from Chapter 1 in Guffey's chapter, in the Guffey textbook, this chapter, Business Communication in the Digital Age.